Hello there again. This is Home Cook Gabs. We're in Cape Town, South Africa. It's just started winter, so it's getting a bit cold outside. Today is lovely, the sun is shining, but nevertheless we need some comfort food. So what we're going to cook today is a traditional Cape style tomato bredie. That's like a tomato stew for those who don't know. Traditionally this dish would have been made with mutton. Preferably I would use lamb, but today we've decided we're going to use some chicken. We've got some lovely fresh free-range chicken, so today we're going to make a chicken tomato bredie Cape style. Let's look at our ingredients, shall we? Right, so our main ingredient of course is the chicken. I've got about 1 kilogram, which is 2 pounds of assorted pieces of free-range chicken. I leave the skin on because I'm after the flavor, and most of the flavor is in the skin. The health fundies would want me to take the skin off, but we're making comfort food, not health food. Here we've got 3 nice large potatoes. We've got 6 rosy red ripe tomatoes. We've got 4 nice cloves of garlic. We've got 2 nice large onions. Then we've got paprika, crushed dried chilies, freshly ground black pepper, salt, mixed herbs, chicken stock, fresh butter, tomato paste, oil, and 1.5 cups of water. Now, before we start preparing this dish, make sure you understand that you have 2.5 hours lead time. It's a slow cooking dish, so if you don't have the time, then this is not a dish to cook. 2.5 hours it's going to take you from start to serving. Right, first you peel your potatoes. Potatoes peeled. And then you dice your potatoes. I cut them in half that way, and maybe 3 bits this way, 3 bits that way, and I'll cut them twice across. Carefully, don't cut your fingers. Right, our potatoes are diced. Then we put our diced potato in a bowl of cold water. Make sure the water covers it so that it doesn't go brown. This is going to stand for a long time, so make sure that the water covers it. It only gets added 2 hours into the cooking time of the meal. Right, so that's our diced potato. Right, so we dice our onions. Always get rid of the garbage, and then you have a nice tidy cooking environment, which makes it a whole lot easier. So we tidy up as we cook. Right, so we chop our tomatoes into sort of chunks like this. Sort of 6 to 8 slice chunks per tomato. Right, so we chop our garlic into tiny little cubes. Now, most recipes want you to crush the garlic. I like to slice my garlic up into long bits like that, and then I chop it across. Okay, something like that. You get tiny little cubes because I don't know, I just think that way one probably will end up with getting more flavor. So that's our garlic and tomato nicely cut up. Right, so to start cooking, we need a nice flat bottom, thick iron pot, you know, like we make with potjie in South Africa. This one happens to come from Australia. It's called Austrail. It's very, very nice. Right, and we're going to add in there 2 tablespoonfuls of oil. One tablespoon, 2 tablespoons full of oil, and roughly 1 tablespoon of butter. Alright, I'll get your oil nice and hot until the butter sort of discolors. Then cut the chicken bits into slightly smaller pieces. The bigger pieces are into slightly smaller pieces. The drumstick I'm keeping whole. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to just stir fry the chicken pieces in this hot oil and butter mixture, but making sure not to cook it. The idea is to just give it a golden brown outside, and the inside is going to slow cook with the rest of the dish later on. Nice and brown the outside. Don't put too many pieces in at the same time. Rather do it on a rotational basis and then turning it quickly to get it nice and golden brown like that on the outside. So you go through like that on a rotational basis with your whole batch of chicken. So as soon as they're browned on all sides, then we get them into another suitable dish that will hold the whole batch once they've been browned. One by one, quickly take them out before they get cooked, and then you get the next batch in until the whole batch is nicely brown on the outside. Right, so we're going to add our chopped onion into that pan on about a medium heat, let's say 3 to 4 out of 6 heat. And you just stir that around until the onion gets nice and brownish and translucent of color. Right, so once your onions are nice and glazed like that, slightly brown and translucent, we can start adding the rest of the ingredients. I'll start with my tomatoes. My garlic. Whilst the tomato and the onion are getting married, now we start adding half a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of chopped chili, some mixed herbs, these are the Italian mixed herbs that we get locally. Then I like to add a nice dollop of tomato paste, about 70 grams. Now when I use tomato paste, and especially also with tomato dishes, traditionally it's always good to use about a teaspoon of sugar. Some people say it cuts the acidity. I don't think that's been scientifically proven, but I do it just to sort of add to the taste. And then we add some chicken stock, give that a stir, and your 1.5 cups of water. And we bring that to a slow boil. Not a perky fast boil, just a nice slow bubbly boil. Alright, cover that up. Right, we've got a nice slow boil going. Now we add our chicken pieces back in. Lay them in nicely. Getting hungrier by the moment. Right, so we add all the chicken back in. Them a little bit, give them a little stir, and now we're gonna reduce the heat and let that simmer away for the next 2 hours. Right, so it's about 2 hours into the cooking time, slow cooking. And now it's time to deal with our potatoes. Remember the potatoes that we diced and we put in cold water? This is the time to deal with it. So first thing I do, I've got a pot of boiling water here. I'm going to add just half a teaspoon of salt. And then my potatoes, I've drained the cold water off them, and I'm going to gently pour them into this boiling pot of water to parboil them. just for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're slightly soft, and then we're going to add them to the dish. Right, so it's about 10-15 minutes after we started parboiling the potatoes. As you can see, they're just nice and soft, not too puffed. We don't want them to be mashed. And we're now going to add them to our dish. We just gently add them in and stir them. Get them to be part of the dish. And that's it. Now we leave it for another half an hour and we are ready to serve. Of course, I like to leave it till the next day. With all stews, like you know, it's better to have it the next day. It kind of settles in and the flavors bond. So there we have it. The Cape style chicken and tomato bredie. Wonderful in the winter time. Real comfort food. It takes 2.5 hours to cook. Right at the end, perhaps when the potato is mixed in, you can thicken the gravy with a little bit of maizena. You just put a teaspoon of maizena in a cup, add a little bit of cold water, stir it into a sloppy little paste, and then pour it into your dish. Stir that up, and the gravy will become a little richer and thicker. Preferably, don't have that straight away. Leave that overnight for everything to nicely settle and get married. Tomorrow, have it with some nice rice. Bye bye.